Yeah, so we'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last class we started with ledger creation. So that is we created a ledger and
Hmm.
we were assigning the ledger options for that. So we will try to see why do we assign basically the balancing segment value and the other options. So probably we will try to close our this thing, uh, the basic configuration, and we will try to create a manual journal entry today.
Hmm. Okay.
Just Yeah, so we saw till here. So we created the ledger, and earlier to this, we created legal entities, and we assigned the legal entities. After assignment, we basically gave the ledger options. So the
Okay.
next configuration that we have is that assigning the balancing segment values. So
Hmm.
here, balancing segment value is nothing but our company segment that we are giving. So how
Hmm.
we are identifying that this is the company segment is the one that we are using it here is that we give the label. So label is nothing but it identifies or it informs to the system that this is how this particular segment should work. For example, we have given primary balancing segment. Also, we had the second and third balancing segment, but we used only the primary balancing segment value. So the company segment is the one which we used as an primary balancing segment value. So that is the reason we are attaching the balancing segment value from the company values.
Can you repeat that again? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. How we are identifying that company values are the one that we are trying to attach it here is that basically we are giving the labels for each segment. So that is the cost center, natural account, and primary balancing segment. So here what we are attaching is that primary balancing segment value. Since we have created or we have attached the primary segment value to the company segment, we are giving the values from the company. Let's say I have attached it for the different segment. Let's say project segment or the location segment. So here what I will attach is that either the project or the location. So based on that, I'll attach it. Basically, the understanding is that whatever the qualifier, whatever the segment that I have made as an qualifier, as an primary balancing segment. So that is what I'm going to attach it here.
Hmm.
Yeah, fine.
What is the purpose or how does this work?
Yeah. So when I try to create any transaction in AP, let's say I'm trying to create an invoice. So
Hmm.
this AP or this invoice that I'm creating in the AP module is only in subledger module. I mean,
Hmm.
subledger transaction. I'll just
Hmm.
say that this is the vendor and this is the amount and all those mandatory information. So apart from that, end of the day, I need to transfer this particular invoice entry to the general ledger module or the accounting repository. So that is when I'll get the actual this thing. Like if I wanted to do the auditing and the other things, I cannot show my subledger transaction. So that is just a transaction. But whereas the auditor will ask for the accounting information of it, let's say the trial balance or the account analysis report. So something like that, he will be interested in looking at it for the purpose of reconciliation. So in order to complete this particular process, what I need to do is that I need to say that this is the account that I'm trying to create an invoice against it. Let's say I'm trying to book an rent payment. So what I will say is that I will say rent as a debit and I will say liability credit. And when I'm making the payment, I will say liability will be my debit and cash clearing will be my credit. So this way I will say that this is the flow of accounting.
Hmm.
So this data will be transferred to our general ledger module.
Hmm.
So
Explaining the accounting
yeah,
structure for the
yeah.
thing, is it?
Yeah, so where we are using this particular BSV assignment is that Unless I assign it here, I will not be able to pick the values there for the company segment or whichever
Okay, okay,
segment I have classified as a primary balancing segment value.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me understand it better. Yeah, I'm getting some clear understanding, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do it, I'll probably get it better.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we will see it in the application. So by that time, maybe we will get it. So simply to put it in simple words, so this particular configuration will allow us to select the company segment when we are trying to create the invoice.
And follow the
Okay.
segments. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So here, so this is what.
Basically, like, what are the valid values for that company?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so there are multiple cases for this kind of BSVs. So let's say my structure says that I will use, let's say, 100 operating unit, but whereas the ledger and the legal entity, I have opted for only one ledger and one legal entity. So under this,
Mm.
I will have multiple operating units. So in this case, what I will do is that I will add multiple operating unit, and under one ledger, I will add 100 BSVs. So whatever the operating unit that I'm seeing, so I will just add this as an BSV, each BSV. So each operating unit will have access to specific BSVs. So one entity or one company I'm treating as an one balancing segment value.
Mm.
Yeah. So we will see it here. So maybe by then we will get to know, or we will get to an understanding. So here we have two options. So one is to attach it at the legal entity, and the other one is to attach it at ledger. So when I will attach it to legal entity is that, let's say I have one ledger. So under one ledger I have multiple legal entities. So that is when I will opt for this option. Because what will happen is that, let's say I opt for ledger. So which means if I have four legal entities under this one ledger, so all all this particular four legal entities are the operating unit that is created under this legal entity will be assigned with a specific value that I'm assigning to the ledger. Let's say 100. So that is the reason we will assign to the legal entity so that it will be a unique value.
Okay.
Okay. In case of, let's say I have only one legal entity, directly I can assign it to ledger.
What did you do? Sorry.
Yeah, just one minute. So here earlier the scope was not selected. So scope is
Mm.
nothing but on which ledger we are trying to do. I mean, we
Okay.
cannot say ledger. We can say this is an business unit or the ledger or the legal entity. Scope is
Mm.
nothing but under which classification we are working. So
Mm.
we haven't selected the scope. So I just clicked here, and from here I selected the primary ledger.
Mm.
So I selected ledger. So system is showing the legal entity under this particular ledger. So I have
Mm.
only one legal entity under this particular ledger.
Mm.
Okay, so under this legal entity, I have two business. I mean, two units. So one is automobile entity 03, and the other one is 33 automobile entity 33. So
Mm.
there are two companies. So when I create, or I have an what do you call, the operating unit or the business unit. So if I try to create an invoice under this particular business unit, I'll be able to see these two values, 03 and 33.
Mm.
Let's say if I have given one value, which means I'm going to see only 03 when I'm creating the invoice.
Got it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So we have assigned the BSV at legal entity. So I'll just save and close this page. Yeah. So the next configuration is to review and submit our accounting configuration. So what this will do is that this particular action, what we are trying to do, so this will so this will create a queue. So I have already submitted it. So that is the reason I'm seeing this particular value as an generated cube. If you see here, so the status is done. And we could see that cube has been already generated. Whereas if we are creating this as an new ledger, so we will not see cubes. Whereas after we submit this particular process, so this will
Mhm.
generate and schedule process. So that will trigger this process to generate the cubes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is our cube. So cubes are generated. Yeah. So once the cubes are completed or the generated, so what we will do is that basically we will check, we will try to assign the roles to the user. So here we have two things. So one is that assigning roles and enabling the ledger or the legal entity or the business unit. So I will show first what are the roles that we wanted to assign for this particular function. So the navigation is from tools. We will navigate to security console. Yeah. So for this, we need a general ledger accountant, general ledger accounting manager, and financial analyst. So
Mhm.
the other roles we will see when we are seeing the other modules. For example, we have the cash management related roles and AP related roles. So everything is there. So we will see it subsequently when we are seeing those modules. So for now, these are the three roles that we need to create a manual JV or import any JV that is coming from outside the system.
Mm.
Okay. So I have assigned it.
How will you assign it?
Yeah, so how I will assign is that I'll just say edit, and from here I will say add role. So since I have added it already, so I'll not be able to get from the list. I'll say I'll see only the copy of it. It is only copy of it since I have already added. Yeah, so that's what. So now we have added role to this user. So now we will give access to the particular ledger. So I'll just navigate back to the configuration part. I'll say setup and maintenance. Yeah, so this is the navigation, or this is the configuration part that we need. Manage ledger data access for user. So I'll just click this page. Yeah, so here what I will say is that let's say I wanted to give access to Arun 12. So I'll just search for my username and I will search the role that we have attached, that is general ledger accountant. So for each role we need to give separately, like by adding it. Okay, so the next option is to select the security context. So I'll say data access it, and from here we will select our this thing, our ledger. So this is our ledger. Yeah, this is already added, so that's it. But basically, this is how we will add. So we will give our username, and we will select the role that we attached just before this setup, this particular step, and we will give the context as data access set, since this is an GL related concept.
Multiple options. Security context. There was multiple options.
Yeah, another one is intercompany organization. If
Hmm.
I want intercompany organization, we will see this as a separate module, because I wanted to show the intra-company, intercompany, and advanced global intercompany. So that's why now I'm not touching this part. So we will see how or on what basis we are deciding this is an intercompany, intra-company, or advanced global intercompany. So that we will see it separately, the related configuration and the processes. So for now, we will see only the data access set. Okay. So to give an what we call the brief thing about the data access set. So this data access set is nothing but it is just an what we call, it is kind of a restriction or gives an access to us to work on this particular ledger.
More like row level security.
Yes, correct. So
Hmm.
this will give access for us to in order to read or write. So that's it about the data access set. So this will be created by system automatically. If you see here in the entire configuration, we didn't create any data access set called Tata Auto PL. So this is automatically created by the system. So this
Hmm.
naming convention also system has created based on the ledger name that we have given. So the ledger name that we gave is Tata Auto PL. So system has taken the same name and it has generated the data access set. Okay, so that's it about the roles assignment. So we have assigned the roles, and the next step is that to open the periods. So periods are so opened, but I'll show like where and how to do it. So we have two options to open the periods. So if this is first open period, we have two options. So that is to click here, and from here we can select our data access set. So based on this selection, system will pick the ledger name or the ledger set. And here we will specify our first open period, and we will just say submit. So this will open our first open period. Okay. So this is one part, and the usual period opening or the closure will be here in our dashboard. So since we have given access to the GL module, so we will have this in our list. So we can see it here in general accounting. So if we see here, so we have this one journals and period close. So we will say period close. So from here we can either open or close our period. So
Okay.
how do we manage our ledger is that we have an option called data access set. So this is where we will manage. So if you see here, so we are seeing the different ledger. So this is not ours. So TKS is not our ledger. Ours is Tata Auto PL. So what we will do is that we will just give change, and from this list we will change it to Tata Auto, Tata Auto PL. Yeah. So when we have changed this, system will say that whether this is an open period or this is a closed period. So we have three statuses here. So either open, close, or future enterable. Okay. So since this is an December period, system is saying it is future enterable. And here, if you see, it is never opened, which means I'm yet to open this particular period. If you remember in our GL configuration, we gave the future enterable period as one, which means I can enter the transaction in this particular month called December, but I'll not be able to post it. So
Post
that,
it. Yeah.
yeah, correct.
Hmm.
So that's what future enterable period. So we have it here. Since the reason could be the November period is open, but whereas the December is not open. So that's why it is in future enterable. So let me just click and open the period. So unless I have this role, I will not be able to see. this open period enabled. So I'll
Mm.
be able to see this particular page, but to have access to
Wait.
open period, I need this one,
Mm.
the roles assignment.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's it. We have opened the period. Yeah. So now we can see that for GL, the period is open.
Mm.
So now we can go back to our initial dashboard and we can create a manual journal entry. So the navigation is here, journals. So here we will say create journals. Yeah. So system has picked automatically the ledger and the accounting date. So accounting date basically system will default based on the latest open period, and ledger it is defaulting based on the data access that we have chosen before this particular page.
Is the accounting date the current date, or is it just the start of the open period?
Yeah, this is just the current date. Yeah, today is first, so it is picking.
Yeah. Okay. Mm.
Yeah, and
We can
category.
also post it to set it to fifth also, right?
Yeah, yes, yes, we can change.
Anything within that open period, you can set it to.
Yes, yes, correct.
Enter a date between 12 and 12. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
So we have restriction only for the closed period. Other than that, we can just select any dates
Mm.
in the open range. Yeah. Yeah. Then we have the currency part. So currency is also it has picked from the ledger configuration. That is as an USD. So probably if you want to change it to different currency, we can change from the list.
Mm.
So that will be in foreign currency transaction. So we need to have the rates defined for this. So for now, I'll just do a simple functional currency JV. So after this, maybe we will try to add foreign currency JV.
Mm.
Okay, so here we have different categories. So we can say it is an adjustment, accrual, or asset addition. So we have multiple options. So I will just simply say this is an adjustment, and we will select our account code combination. So our account code combination is nothing but the segments that we gave. Yeah. So here if you see, we are seeing two values, 03 and 33. So unless we give that balancing segment value, we will not be able to choose this particular field, but we can choose the other fields. But to
Mm.
complete this or to say okay in this particular form, we need this company value. So from where we are getting this is that particular configuration called BSV attachment. Yeah, so these are all our segment values. I mean, the other things.
Yeah.
Since we gave only two as a primary segment, so we are seeing it only 03 and 33 for company. But
Mm.
whereas here we don't have any restriction, so we are seeing all the values 0, 4, 5, and the other things.
Mm.
Yeah, so we have created it, and let me post this. So this will trigger an schedule process. So let me check that whether it is complete. Yeah, so this is done. So let's check the JV. Yeah, this is posted and this is done. Okay, so now we will create one foreign currency JV. Okay, so I have added a value for our euro to USD. So after this particular thing, I'll show like what is this corporate rate and what is the conversion rate that we have set up and how to add the values. So before that, we will say that. So here, if you see transaction level, I'll just select the different currency, and based on the configuration that we have given, that is in the ledger. So we attached corporate rate type. So system has already picked the relevant information. But this rate, this conversion rate is picked up based on the rate that we have given. So after this, we will see how it is done. So I'll just make this as well an adjustment. Yeah. So I have selected this particular account code combination. So that is prepaid expense to liability account. So I have
Mhm.
given amount in euro. So that is 10,000 euro. So here we have the conversion and the other things. So based on this system has calculated this in USD value it is 105. Okay, so the system will calculate automatically and it will account based on the conversion rate. So I'll just say post.
Hello, hi Bharat. Give me 1 minute, Bharat. 2 minutes. 1 nimisha. Yeah. Arun.
Yeah, yes.
So can we just call it a break today? No.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll meet again tomorrow same time.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Arun.
Yeah, thanks.